All right, looks like we're going live. Good evening, Facebook, friends. Welcome to episode 3 of Hanging with the Friends with our special guest, Carlos LLV, El Topo from El Topo Records. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. We're excited. Bienvenidos todos los de Tijuana que nos están viendo también ahora. Algo bien especial para estar aquí con ustedes. Cool, awesome. Well, welcome, guys. Welcome, Carlos.
What's up?
What's up?
How's everyone doing?
What up? What up?
Rocking those glasses there. Awesome, man.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I didn't want to be out, right?
Right, exactly. Cool, man. So I'm excited to have you on here. You're I consider one of our best friends when it comes to like music, man. We've done so much in like a little over a year. You know what I mean? We've come like a long, long way. Can you give us a little bit of background on you, man?
Sure. I've been around for I've been in the music thing since I was 4. So I'm 37 right now. 32 years? So I started playing piano, then moved to guitar. I started electronic systems engineering, actually. So I am an engineer, but I'm not an audio engineer by, with a paper or something like that.
With a degree.
Yeah, with a degree. So I started working at the recording studio in Mexico City, Fábrica de Éxitos. So big shout out to Alex Zavara and Juan Carlos from there. And, it felt natural. I have a good ear, and I know my way around all the stuff that's in a recording studio. And it was just a matter of picking flavors. So I decided to do the same thing here and started in 2006 El Topo Records. This is the 3rd time that I've started El Topo Records because it's kind of difficult when you don't know anything about business. So in 2007, I was lucky enough to have my wife get in this adventure with me. And we've been together since 2012. It's going to be 8 years this year. And she really helped out. So I'm really lucky. And the best thing is sharing that with my family and growing the family with you guys, with bands and musicians that become great friends like you guys. So thank you for having me here.
Oh, definitely, man. It's our pleasure. And they say 3rd time's the charm, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
3rd time's the charm.
And for everybody just joining us, so we have our guest here, Carlos. He's the founder, CEO of El Topo Records, correct?
Yeah, the owner, the sensei, everything.
Yeah. And I first met Carlos, I think in where was it, Anaheim?
Yeah. Just like a timeout, really, because before I forget something,
Woo! Nice, old school.
Rocking the old school name, yeah. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, it was in Anaheim in NAMM 2018, I believe. 2019?
2019. Andy had just been born, I believe, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. He had just been born. I remember, yeah. You were going to stay at NAMM a little longer, but you had to go back home because he was a newborn,
Yeah, he was 3 weeks old.
Cool.
Wow.
Just a quick little segue real fast. For anybody joining us right now, we'll be taking your questions. Brian will be answering them and kind of going as we go live, okay? Cool. So continue. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, I definitely, with Ruben and Carlos, I'm still not 100% sure how you guys started talking. So I'd love to hear about that too. But, I first met Carlos in Anaheim, and then it was Ruben and I that went down to Tijuana after that to do an acoustic set. And I remember turning to Ruben and just saying, like, this is going to change everything about the band.
Yeah.
And it did. In a lot of ways, in a lot of great ways too. It's like we had gone into this new market of just really awesome folks, and everybody I've met down in Tijuana, Carlos included, we've made some really close friends. So, thanks for inviting us down there, and thanks for setting us up to play down there. We've been down there 3 times now, I believe, to play. And it's been a blast. We're really dying to go back. my first thought was, when this coronavirus thing hit, my first thought was like, fuck, that means we can't go to Tijuana for a while.
Right, right.
So yeah,
we had already been talking some big plans, like before all this happened, and well, it's just the way it goes sometimes,
Yeah.
It just means we could plan it better. You know what I mean? We can just give it more of a runaway, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it happens. What's it called? I know. Thinking back to when I first reached out to you, Carlos, I remember having my wife actually text a lot of the stuff to you because she's a little more fluent in Spanish than I am. My Spanish is definitely my second language. I can defend myself, but she was just so much more efficient. And I remember mid sentence, you were just like, I can do this in English if you want, and here we are.
Yeah, it was like that was in August of 2018.
It's strange because we were about to relaunch as Frantic Romantic. We were Skyway View, as your shirt says.
Right.
We disappeared. We did this whole thing, this whole PR stunt where we're like, we're broken up as a band. We're done, And I was talking to you about that. I was like, so here's our plan. And I think that's interesting. That's when we met. It was right before we launched into Who We Are, and then our single every month thing that we were doing with the videos.
Yeah, and I was trying to figure out who to get you to play here, guys, and I wasn't getting any luck. I didn't know how to approach promoters. I didn't know a lot of people, so it was tough. And I was, I felt pressure because I wanted to do something for you guys, and here comes Festiarte, and that changed everything for. I think for both of us, Frantic and El Topo. So
totally. I mean, you were getting ready to launch your first stage, the acoustic stage, and we weren't getting any breaks. Like I was calling every club in Tijuana. I was asking bands, and they were like, "Leave me alone. I don't know who you are." You know what I mean? Like you're from another country. It was crazy. But I get it. You know what I mean? It's like a big leap of faith. In somebody that you don't know. And I thank you personally. You know what I mean? You gave us a big break.
Same.
I mean those trips to Tijuana was an amazing experience. So, I had never had the opportunity to go down there, and just the whole culture of their place. And I was actually curious if you could, because my first time down there was for the Festiarte. I was wondering if you mind talking a little bit about that specific festival and its its history and the culture with Tijuana.
Yeah, so it's been around for there was the 18th edition. Not 18th year. I think it's been around for 10 years. It's gonna be this year.
Oh wow.
But yeah, it's a great fest, and the staff is awesome. I mean, they're really about the artist, not just music, but painters, sculptures. They're really artist centric, and I really thank them for trusting us and allow us to be part of it. And I'm a person. I don't have a band. I have a project that helps projects. That's how I like to think about it. So I was really trying to do something to involve more music, and they were willing to do it. And it speaks volumes for them. Really, Cesar, Tere, Eduardo, all the team, they really do a good job. And I haven't heard anything about Festiarte, but given the situation, it wouldn't be strange it gets postponed until late in the year. And it makes sense because Tijuana is having the phase 3 right now, which means that when there's more likely to be infected by the virus. So that's going to be a whole May. And it was planned on the last weekend of May. So,
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we were already in talks with trying to get on there. And, well, like I said, them's the breaks,
Yeah. I mean, this is...
What's it called?
What was that?
Go ahead.
Well, I mean, like, this is an extraordinary situation around the world. So it's not to be, you know, you have to take it serious.
Yeah.
People are dying, close people.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, we're seeing it all over, and all over the world, not just all over the country. Definitely.
So well,
I know. For me, I think it's amazing seeing how, like, when we met you, you were doing like it was like a smaller stage, but like right after that, we went and you were planning like a whole night on the main stage, and I know a lot of that just kind of came out of just the success that your tent was, that your stage was with the acoustic set. I remember we had some strange circumstances that really worked in our favor that night, where Cesar, who was one of the big coordinators, happened to just catch our set, and then that same night they just were like, "Hey, we need you to play on the main stage too," and it was an awesome opportunity. I mean, from there, that brought us back 2 more times.
It was, hey man, that night was enchanting, man. That was an enchanting night. It's like all the stars aligned for all these like cool, perfect things to happen. And that was awesome.
I remember it was crazy because you had just sang an hour set. Like we did a whole hour set for the acoustic thing. And I was like, damn, I can imagine your voice hurts, but that stage looks pretty cool. So let's see if we can pull it off.
Yep.
And we did, man. It was cool.
Yeah.
And somebody jumped on drums.
Right. Yeah. The guy that jumped.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So, okay. For the audience, what happened was, so Ruben and I played this acoustic set. First, it was at the El Topo Records booth. And then we were asked to come on to the big stage with this like giant television behind us and all this crazy stuff that Ruben and I are not used to. And so we're playing the acoustic set and we're already having just a fantastic night. And somewhere, I forget what song it was, but
someday,
some dude just he's just like, hey, can I play drums for you guys? And we're like, yeah, let's do it. Yeah, let's get crazy. Yeah,
that's cool.
And so he came up on stage and we kind of just like directed him, like, oh, for the verses, tone it down a little bit. Oh, for the chorus, bring it up. Yeah.
How do you
do? It was awesome. He did great, actually. He did pretty damn good for never hearing us.
That was my first audition with you guys.
And it was Rick.
It was Rick in disguise. Yeah.
What was awesome is that his girlfriend came on stage too, and she was filming him. And security's like, "Get off the stage!" And she just like ignored them and walked.
She's like, "I'm with the band."
Yeah. And it's funny because I think we got the loudest applause when he was on stage with us, just being bald, man.
Yeah.
Well, I assume the audience caught on to the fact that he wasn't, your actual drummer.
Right.
Yeah, they did. And it was crazy. Somebody started chanting Michael Kerosene when we were up there.
Yeah, who was that?
You were like, how the hell do they know my name? Yeah.
Someone just knew. Yeah, I have no idea how that happened, but it was.
You look like a Michael Kerosene, that's why.
I do, yeah. Oh, man.
Oh, awesome. So it looks like we're being watched by Ecuador. Saludos a Ecuador. ¿Cómo están? Cool.
Awesome.
Hola.
Man, we're getting some love from around the world. That's awesome.
We're international now. Look at that. Only our
right. Well, remember, Carlos is the reason why we're international musicians.
That is
now,
true.
Right?
That is true.
Yeah,
cool,
Quito Bohemio. I just met him, and we have a plan together, which involves you guys as well.
Cool, man. Can you elaborate a little bit on that? Fill the world in.
Sure. We're. I'm keeping myself busy here, and we're launching the first compilation on Bandcamp, and it's really an international effort. We have bands from Tijuana, Ensenada, Sonora, San Diego, Los Angeles, San Jose, Bay Area. And now we have also from Colombia and Ecuador with Quito Bohemio and Alex Andrade. A big shout out to them. We're trying to do a thing where we help each other, to really use the power of the internet, and it's a great opportunity to connect right now that we can't go out. I mean, physically, but I mean, we have the world and on our phones, right? So let's take advantage of that. And yeah, there's a collaboration between Quito Bohemio, which is really doing a lot of work for bands, not only from Ecuador, but from Brazil, Mexico, Argentina, Chile. They've been around, and it was great to touch base with them. So yeah, it's going on Bandcamp at the end of May, uh, and everything that gets funded by, or all the purchases go to the bands to do a little support in on these times where there's no live events,
Right.
and there's nothing. And the idea is to, like the world's doing, to come together and like I've always told Mike, the power of music. Really, there really is a power of music, and we're just riding this wave, and we're not going to see how it goes. We'll make it happen.
Yeah.
So it's a joint effort between all the bands, the promoters involved. I'll get more info on that mid-May, before May, early May. But that's the only thing that I can tell you right now. It's a compilation with Frantic Romantic, and of course the bands from Topo Records right now: Domitila, The Midnight Block, Corporate Citizen, Dos Barbas, Seis Ojos. We have Reptilianos from Ensenada, Vaquero Galáctico, Coronado from Sonora, Soma Reggae. We're talking with Avenue Army to basically have all the 5 bands from Topo Fest also on the compilation. And yeah, it's a cool project, keeping ourselves busy. Going
Well, that's
international.
great. I mean, right now, it's definitely great to use this time to do that, to hit all those creative outlets. I mean, we're all in need of doing that. We're all trapped at home. We're all kind of in isolation, and it's a beautiful time to create art right now,
Well,
and to connect with each other too.
And just to piggyback off of that, what's interesting that I've noticed in the last couple of weeks is musicians are really, really starting to innovate, and they're really starting to utilize the internet a lot more, and it's cool because you're seeing all these different ideas emerge that it is not only like a great idea, but I think it's also necessary, like I think we're also getting into this thing where it's like, there's these brand new ways of doing things, and maybe that is the next step for local music, right? And even for big, for big label music too. It's utilizing the internet to get music out there more, which is great. It's just cool seeing like all these different ideas that are emerging from that.
Yeah, and it's gonna be a different strategy, because I mean, how many of you have seen a live show all the way? I mean, to stick around the whole live show, or how many live shows have you seen in its entirety? We did the Soma Reggae live session just before the quarantine here in Tijuana, and it was great. It was great. We had a lot of views, but we did some promotions, advertisements prior to the show, and yeah, we saw that people were jumping back and out and in of the transmission. So it's really puzzling the way the internet works. And I'm working with some people to really deep dive on that. And that's the thing that we're doing with Colombia and Ecuador and all the bands that are going in this compilation, to try to work around that, build strategy. We'll keep doing the live sessions after the quarantine is up. There's gonna be still a risk for coronavirus. It's gonna be smaller, but there's gonna be a risk. So we'll keep doing the live sessions to help bands get their music across, And I'm gonna put you on the spot. So I'm inviting you to a live session, because the team, I have a chat with the Team Rocket. We're called the team that's doing all the audio visual stuff for the live sessions.
Oh, cool.
And they told me we need to bring them to the live session. I mean, those guys are awesome.
Absolutely, yeah.
I told them
Yeah, we
they're my
definitely
friends.
wanted
They're
to
my
do that.
friends. I know
No,
them.
we definitely want to do that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You know, we do.
So yeah, we're driving around that strategy and working with Bogota and Ecuador and different cities to try to coordinate, you know, kind of do the same thing, so everybody gets the same exposure. It's a joint effort.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I know you got Jose helping you out with that too, right? Jose Cro?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's helping you out with a lot of that stuff. Awesome guy. He took photos of us at the last Festival that we were
Oh,
at.
yeah.
Really approachable guy. Great photographer.
Yeah.
So yeah, great guy to have on your team.
Yeah, I'm really blessed to work with all these people. You know, they you can't help to become friends, right? So
Right.
it's great.
You know, something I caught, I think it was a couple weeks ago too, is some of your classes that you're doing. You're doing a lot of the audio workshops right now too, right? With a computer.
Yeah, well, I'm starting to do that. To be honest, I'm not doing as much audio as I would like during this quarantine. You know, I'm doing home office as well, but to be honest, I'm enjoying my 1-year-old and my wife. There was like last year, I was dying to get some vacations, but I wasn't able to do that because I took like a month and a half from work to when Andy was born. So all this year I was like, man, I wish I can have some vacation where I had to spend just a week watching my kid grow, and now I have the pleasure to be there when he wakes up, when he goes to sleep. Anytime I want, I can just go outside the door and play with him. So I'm doing that, and yeah, there are times where I say like, oh man, I need to start doing some audio, and then I see his smile, and I like, oh man, this moment's not coming back, so I'll take it. but
Really, yeah.
That's
yeah,
beautiful, man.
but yeah, I mean, at night actually, when he's asleep, I start doing some stuff. So yeah, I want to do the mixing courses, audio recording courses. Haven't make much noise about those. What I'm doing is I'm promoting the mixing services. So I'm building some demos, you know, demo videos with the music that I've mixed, to promote that and really get on freelancer pages, promote that, and also that's another way to get in touch with artists from different parts of the world. So that's part of the plan of the compilation, the mixes, and trying to really, I was thinking like, man, I'm stuck here. No, well, no, I have the whole world on on my computer, so I'll take advantage of that and see where that takes. But it's going well. So
Cool.
I'm really lucky about that. Really fortunate.
Right. I really enjoyed the last one that I caught. Man, I was able to hear some of the stuff you're working on with Hard Cheetos. That band's killer, man. Those guys are really good.
And they're Fernando is on drums, you know, the drummer from Domitila and Frontiers, and David is on guitar, which is he's the keyboardist on Domitila. And
Emiliano just joined too, right? I think.
Yeah, Emiliano just joined. So
on guitar, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and to be honest, that the thing you heard was the rough mix because I only kind of play around with the kick drum and bass before the recording, before the transmission, but it was a rough mix. Kind of sounded exactly how the band wanted it. So
well, you know, they always say if you get something that comes in, it's gonna sound even better. You know what I mean? If it comes in good, it's gonna sound great. You know?
Yeah.
And you know, on the same light, they say, you know, you can't polish a turd either. You know, that's kind of like a saying.
Yeah. And I really took my time with when they were recording, especially the drums, because it was a new drum that I have for recording here. So I told Fernando, hey, can you do me a favor and play something? I want to record the drums, and if you have a band, we'll bring it here. We'll record a song. But the idea was to really polish the drum sound, and I know my stuff, and I know the tools that I use. I really took the sound that they wanted from the amps. I was able to put it on the speakers. I took my time, and yeah, I mean, I wasn't able to do much on the mix because it sounded good. So it was just the second time that happens to me, and the other one was with the Frontiers, which was also another band with Fernando. So uh, I'm I'm really aiming for all my recordings to be like that. I don't have to mix anything else, but just automate stuff and play around with sidechain processing. So that saves a lot of time, but it really brings a challenge into the tracking part of the song to really get the sound that the band wants. And some engineers, not all of them, but most engineers really try to get for, let's say, a clean guitar, and then the guitar that comes from the amp, and then they'll reamp it, and then they'll do another amp on the computer, and then they'll decide the flavor, right? The sound, and not me.
Right.
I don't like that. I try to see it as an organic process, like it was done in the 20s, 30s, 60s,
Yeah.
but using the tools at my advantage for processing, for sound. And really, I don't use compression on coming into the computer, but I do use EQ if needed. But most of it is just mic placement and mic using different mics. So I try to really polish that every time I record, and fortunately is coming along just well. You listen to Hachitos and they were happy. So let's see how it goes when I keep recording after the quarantine. But I think we're going to start moving to the live sessions, because musicians might not have a lot of audience at the bars, at the shows, because people might still be afraid of getting the corona stuff.
Corona.
Right.
Yeah.
So I just talked to the team, the Team Rocket, for the live sessions, and told them, hey guys, after this is over, we need to start a schedule, to start working on those two. To work with the artists, basically the artists from here, and then perhaps schedule artists from other places. But we'll take it one step at a time.
That's awesome. I remember you were talking to me recently about working with some of the guys that are on your roster that are in San Diego, and you're working with the new group down in San Diego now too, right?
Yeah. Well, we have two groups that are in San Diego. One is Corporate Citizen. The other is the Midnight Block. And the Midnight Block, they're from San Diego and Tijuana. They eat hot dogs from street carts where I wouldn't eat hot dogs, so they're more Mexican than I am. Yeah, I saw them once, and like, you're really gonna eat here, man? Come on, no, these are good. These are good hot dogs. And I was like, man, this is not the first time that you've eaten here. So okay, well, yeah, we're releasing two songs from them, the last two songs from their original recordings from last year, which are called MAGA. Is one song, and they didn't want to be confused with any Trump stuff and all that stuff, because the original song was Great Again, and they didn't want it to get involved in all that stuff. And I told them, hey, let's do something. Let's call it Make Aliens Great Again, because they're all into this alien conspiracy and sci-fi and all this stuff.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, it was a no-brainer. So it's called MAGA, Make Aliens Great Again. And the other song is Fire. They're out
Right
on Bandcamp on May 1st, and on all digital platforms on May Cinco de Mayo. They're more Mexicans than anything. So
How would you describe their sound?
it's they don't want me to label it. They don't want to label it, but I call it sci-fi punk. It's really
that's cool.
Punk.
That's a cool label.
Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
It's punk, but they have a lot of conspiracy theories, and there's a song called Halloween Field Trip, which is an awesome song. I think it was played twice the speed that it was originally designed to play. We noticed that when the guitarist was doing the some solos after a chord, he did some harmonies, and he told me, "Hey man, I don't have time to do that. I mean, I can do it as fast as that." And I told him, "Well, let's do something else," and we kind of did it in another track. But it was so fast, and people love it, so they started playing it fast after the recordings.
Wow.
Well, at least he didn't do like a Dragon Force and record it slow and then speed it up. You know what I mean?
No.
Yeah.
No, he didn't do that. Yeah, and Corporate Citizen has videos coming out. The first one for Not One More. That's the name of the song. It's coming out on May 8th. Not the one. May 8th.
Ocho de Mayo, not Cinco de Mayo, right?
Ocho de Mayo.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's good because we're gonna be piggybacking on each other to promote both
releases.
Releases, yeah. So, yeah.
Well,
So that's cool. This pandemic has not slowed you down at all, then, right?
It just not the pandemic, but Andy, my little kid. So
yeah. Cool. For everybody just tuning in, we're talking to our good friend Carlos. He is the founder, the CEO, the brains behind El Topo Records. And we've had plenty of awesome experiences as a band working with Carlos down in Tijuana. So don't be shy. We have a shy audience tonight. You guys throw some questions at us. It could be however silly, crazy kind of questions you want. We are here to answer your questions. But we are here with Carlos. He is very awesome. And just wanted to throw that out there before we continue.
I just want to do a quick shout out to Raul, who's actually broadcasting us on the Fusion R page right now too.
Nice.
Thank you. We're super grateful to getting us out there to Tijuana a little more. We're super grateful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cool.
Yeah, good Raul and Raul Senior, both Rauls really do a great job.
Right. One of the not last performances, but in the summer, we actually got Carlos to join us on a performance on Fusion R.
That's right.
We told him at a retirement to come and join us on guitar.
That's awesome.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Ruben told me, yeah, it's just one chord. And I was playing the song, and well, it's two chords, but am I right or am I wrong? Or, hey, Ruben, it's really two chords? Yeah, it's two chords. Okay.
I was like, just stand there and smile and play. You know what I mean?
Apparently, random people just joining the band is the
yeah.
It's a pattern, right? Yeah.
It's a pattern,
Brian,
man.
it's easy, man. You're fine.
You guys, when we lose members, we don't look for more. We just wait for the person to walk in.
Yeah, let's grab the first person walking down front of the street, right? And Nestor is on the live transmission, as well as Steve Diaz from Corporate Citizen and Juan Antonio Hernandez Cruz from Soma Reggae. So,
how's it going?
What's up, guys? Cool. He's part of our extended family in the Frantic group. He's part of the Frantico Romantico section of what we do.
I remember
little subgroup.
Us playing that second show where it was the full band. I remember just right after the show was over, just giving that guy a big hug, man, because he was awesome. He rocked it. Talking about you, Nestor.
What's crazy is that Carlos actually let us rehearse the first time of 2 times that we ever rehearsed with Nestor. He let me rehearse at his place, at his studio.
Yeah.
And it was the first time meeting Nestor. It was awesome. That guy really put in the work.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
So real quick, speaking of Nestor, he did drop the question. He said he never heard the story of how Topo and Frantic Romantic got together. I think we might have mentioned that a little bit earlier, but you want to touch base on that real quick, someone?
You want to take it away, Carlos?
Sure. It was. It all started rainy night of August 2018 when Ruben sent a message to Topo Records. We want to play in Tijuana.
Yeah.
I don't know where, man. So, long story short, we met in Anaheim, January 2019. I told them we're doing an acoustic stage on Festiarte. I mean, it's not the whole band, but that's under my control. If you want to play, there's a spot for you. And the rest is history. It all evolved from there. Even to the Festiarte in Alameda, where I was so I didn't have only like 2 hours sleep, and going to the hospital with you guys it was like someone had to go to the doctor, and we went and I saw the Casa del Mole. No, it was Chocolate.
Oh,
Yeah.
I had a doctor's
restaurant.
appointment.
You had
That's so
doctor's
crazy.
appointment.
Yeah. And then we
I
went to El
passed through the
Mayordomo.
El Mayordomo, yeah.
Oh my God, that was so cool. We were going to the border, and then he
Yeah.
just stops. Carlos just stops, and he's like, "Sorry guys, we're gonna eat. This place is never open."
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, that was so good. Right, it's insane.
That was the same. Was that the same trip where we like wandered into a wrestling museum? Right? Was that the same? Are we
No,
talking
that
about
was before.
Oh,
That was
okay,
promo
okay.
for. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, we've
was
had
cool.
some crazy adventures together.
Dude.
That's right. I forgot about that. And then we got
Yeah.
to meet like Miss Baja California, Miss Ensenada, and Miss Tijuana. And
Yeah.
again,
Oh,
Carlos
nice.
set that up. He's like, "Hey, come over here. Let's photo op. You know?
Oh yeah, the pageant girls, right?
Yeah.
How did that happen? Were they just walking around?
Yeah.
Did they- yeah.
Dude, they totally were just walking around, and so were we taking pictures. And Carlos was like, "Hey, let me talk to their handler real quick," and he made that happen.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
All right, so I got another question here. I don't want to take too much time away from our guest, but someone chimed in and said, some of us are new fans, intros and backgrounds.
Intros and background.
Sure. Brian, how about you start?
How about I start?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll do my background with the band. I first met Ruben about 8 years ago. We were working together, and he had a show lined up, and Skyway View was on a hiatus at the time. And he came up to me and said, "Hey, listen, I already have the show planned. I don't want to back out on this guy. And you said you played bass. You want to learn some songs in a month and do a show with me." So I said, sure. Let me hear the CD, listen to the CD, say, all right, I got this. So he threw a bunch of us together. And at that time, Ezekiel had actually sat in to do vocals that night. And that was when I first met Joe, who is our seventh member.
Our silent partner. Yeah.
Our silent partner,
yeah.
our producer, songwriter, whatever. And so after the show, it was kind of like, well, we got a full band. Do we want to keep going? And they kept going. I personally stuck around for about 8 months and left due to personal issues. I got reacquainted with the band about 4 years ago. I came by to say hi, and I realized that Mr. Kerosene lived in L.A. They're like, "Oh, yeah, our singer's in L.A." I'm like, "Well, I've been listening to the CDs a little bit. You want me to sing along for practice?" And they said, "Sure." So I started sitting in on practice, just singing to help the band out. And then one day he wanted to do the show. Chris, who was the bass player at the time, couldn't make it. They asked me to sit in. So I did a few songs on bass. And then I started filling in on guitar when Joe couldn't make make shows. So I was doing about 2 or 3 shows with you guys a year or so. And I believe when I went down to Tijuana with you guys last time, both times I hadn't officially joined the band. I was still filling in. And then somewhere around October, as Joe's plate got full and he became more doing some more behind the scenes things, I was asked to join the band. And I must say, I'm extremely grateful. I love these guys. I believed in their music, and I liked watching them play. I loved practicing with them. It definitely changed my life for the better to be part of it again. And there was definitely a lot of jealousy of practicing for years and watching you guys do shows. I just wanted to be up there. So I'm so glad to be a part of it.
Hey, Brian, I mean, it's an honor and a pleasure, man. I don't know, dude. I feel like you and I have like 1,000 hours to hang out that we haven't hung out yet. So I'm looking forward to that.
Well, I met you after you're already gone.
Yeah.
You know?
But yeah, I mean, Brian has like saved our asses so many times, and we're eternally grateful for that. So thank you, Brian.
Thank you. Glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, totally. I don't know. Maybe Rick, you want to?
Yeah, go for it, Rick.
Okay.
Rick.
I'm Rick. I play drums with Frantic Romantic. And I will never be teaching Brian to play drums because I like my job.
It's the one thing I can't do. Well, not the one, but.
As I hooked up with Frantic in the end of May last year. And that was in answer to a Craigslist ad I put out. I was looking for some sub drumming work, and I get a message from a guy, you know, handsome Hispanic male seeking sexy young drummer, and and he told me that gig didn't work out, and then he got me instead. So, anyways. So he tells me they're looking for a sub drummer, and hey, you know, we don't have a lot of time. I said, okay, what are you looking at? He says 13 songs. I said, how long? He goes, see, we'll probably have about a 4, maybe 6 practices altogether if we can. And okay, when is it? It's in about a month. Okay, and then you know, it sounds all good. It sounds good. You know, let's do it. Okay, well, here's the kicker. It's in Tijuana, Mexico. So then I was like, oh no, man. Then my wife is like, oh, that's red flags. That's red flags. So unbeknownst to me, Ruben, his wife, says, you got to go meet this guy in person. And so we had these wives talking in our ears, you know, getting us all set up for this in-person meeting. And yeah, it was cool. We met at this Starbucks, and we could tell neither of us was like, is this story legit, or is this going to go like, you know, become some sort of epic story? And, you know, that's you let your imagination run wild. So it was a good first impression with them. I got the CD, started listening to the music, and it's like I became a fan of the music at that point. And then we had to get the passports, and then we had to still secure a bass player. So all this is happening within, you know, the month right after I meet for the first time. Then we do a practice, and, you know, my passport was still not, you know, arrived to, you know, to my house. And so I wasn't ready for that trip. That was an uncertainty. And Ruben, man, that guy's just like the greatest hurdle jumper of all time. You know, he can, if there's an obstacle heading his way, you know, he'll have 3 options for you before you can even consider one of your, you know, of your own. And you know, so passport arrives, everything's good, and then it's like, well, how are we all getting down there? And then everybody had to go on different days for different commitments, and still hadn't played with the bass player, still hadn't played with the singer. So 4 of us go trucking down. 3 of us go trucking down there. No, 4. So we get down there to Mexico, and then it was a matter of me catching up with the rest of the band because they got there earlier and just different times. So my job is to go straight to the rehearsal studio. That's where I'm going to meet the entire band for the first time. Basically meeting Mike, and then Nestor, who's playing bass. So get there, start setting up. Not everybody's really there on time. I got there with Brian somehow, like just before Ruben, and everything was running late anyway. So it's like, okay, we'll get maybe a couple songs in here, just kind of get the feel. And so get everything all set up, hit that first song. It was like, wow, wow, that was quite a moment. Mikey jumps in, Nestor's not missing not one note, hitting everything, and we just drove through the set, you know. And apparently there was a band that was scheduled to play at that rehearsal studio. We just kind of said, nah.
Right. We'll keep playing until they kick us out.
Frantic's not done, dude. You know.
They were so polite too. They were.
So we ran that whole set, and it was just crazy. Did the show down there at Festiarte in Sicut, and man, that was a riot. I mean, just all the logistics. It was basically a turn and burn for me. So I get down to Tijuana, and then come back after the show, and Oh man, it was crazy, but man, everybody was just so kind, so polite. Carlos was just making sure that everything was taken care of, and then we get to play on this amazing stage. Everything's sounding good, and then the one little thing I always bring up is that fog machine, man. I just like, oh man, it just stayed there. I mean, it looked so cool in the pictures, but I could not see most
I
of the
remember
band.
you looked over and you're like, do you guys not like me or something? Because the fog was just killing you.
And there's a fan, so it's like blowing right onto me. I was like, I hope they're having fun because I'm having fun. You know, and then every now and then it's like a bad fuzzy dream. I see Mikey kind of bouncing across the stage through the fog. Ruben, he'll kind of back over and nod at me like, yeah, man, this is it. And I was like, I don't know. Okay, we'll just keep playing. So, yeah, it was one of those Spinal Tap moments, but it was so memorable. And everybody was just so gracious, you know, after that, you know, hey, they were wanting autographs. I'm like, you got it, man. Let's sign everything, whatever. And just, I mean, you guys were all amazing for being there. And they stayed around late.
Yeah.
So,
Pictures, autographs, free food, and the food was like fucking amazing.
Dede hooked it up. Dede totally hooked it up. Yeah.
So
you know, sorry not to cut you off, but just a point that Nestor said something in our chat room. You know, this guy, our bass player couldn't make the show, and they threw him a CD, and he practiced this without the band. And you know, we met him, half of us met him for the first time, and we went down there, and we got this one practice in, and it was just an amazing show. You know, all these players coming together. We never played with each other, and man, we killed it. It was great.
Well, and Carlos, you know, if I was to pinpoint a moment when the band's whole mentality started to shift into like what we are now, as opposed to what we were then, that was the show.
Yeah.
Right.
It was just this magical moment where it was 6 people that were really into the music, that were really dedicated to putting on a really great show. And we, you know, it was like they said, I mean, it was Rick's first show with us. It was Nestor's first show with us. I'd love to have him back, by the way. But like it's just crazy. I mean, we all lifted a lot of weight to make it work. And then we just started thinking like, man, let's make some change. You know what I mean? Like, let's change our attitude, you know, like let's ride this wave.
Totally.
Yeah.
So I had mentioned that the first show I did was with Zeke, and he was singing, and I know Zeke's been a member and played a few different instruments. So how about you tell us a little bit about yourself, bud?
Yeah, I grew up mainly playing just guitar. Then I got into poetry, and that got me into like songwriting and singing. I met Ruben, I think back in junior high, but we didn't really know each other. And then we would just, it was kind of weird. We would kind of like fade into each other's lives here and there. And then I ended up working with them when I was 18. And then we lost contact after that. But I was in different incarnations of the band, you know, Breaking Hour and then Skyway View. So, you know, it's almost gone around full circle. The last time I was with Skyway View, I had to drop out of the band due to a heavy work schedule, which I didn't want to do. You know, because I really love music. I really like playing with the band. And this time around, Ruben, you know, he approached me. It was about, I think, November, around December of last year, and he asked me if I wanted to play bass for them, and I said, yeah, hell yeah. You know, it was for a few years I was watching them play, and I was really stoked because I saw them play live, and it was so good. You know, especially Mike. I remember when Mike was in Drop Dead 60. I remember him playing in that band. He was really good in that band too. So
The 60s, as Brian has mentioned before.
Brian, yeah.
But
Brian, I remember you called it the 60s once, and I'm like, what the fuck is the 60s? Oh, wait.
Drop Dead 60.
Me? I did?
Yeah.
Let's shorten things out.
Yeah, I like it. It was a cool nickname.
it is a cool nickname. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Just here, I didn't expect this quarantine because we had a lot of plans. We had shows that we wanted to play. We wanted to meet up with Carlos and hopefully do like a summer festival with him. But you know what? Things worked out for good reason. Now we're trying to work on different things, and we're doing this now, which I love. We're meeting different people and interviewing them and reaching out, whole different audience. So I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely making the best of the situation, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
The brainchild himself, who's been working this project for decades and through all the evolution of it, Ruben, take the floor.
All right. Well, I'll keep it short and sweet because obviously we could do 2
your
episodes
story's
on
a bit
it, right?
longer than everyone else's.
Right. Well, some people have said it's a rotating roster or whatever, but I'd like to think that this is as fresh as it can be. I mean, after we went to Tijuana and started doing stuff and kind of connecting with the audience, it helped us refocus with what we wanted to do. We rebranded as Frantic Romantic, and we said, the past is great, but it's all about just looking forward, right? I think to some extent, I've been the connective tissue when it comes to Brian, Zeke, Rick, Mike, Joseph, and Carlos, I guess, too, right? And I think that's, to me, it's totally an honor and a pleasure to know all you guys and to know that we're all doing music together, working in music, working, to bridge things, with music. I always wanted to be in this situation where I can collaborate with a lot of guys that are this into what we're doing. And I'm happy to say that I'm finally there. It sucks that I'm realizing that in the quarantine because I missed playing in a room with all you guys, and I've really connected with all you guys. I love you guys. I really do. It's just that we have to do it from a distance right now, I feel like there's a lot of great writing going on right now, and that's always been the core of what this group is just respecting the other members in the writing. Initially, when I put that group together in 2012 with Brian, Zeke filling in on vocals, and Joseph, I made sure that was the main focus, that, whoever's bringing stuff to the table, we got to kind of use to the full potential and try to leave egos out of it. And to this day, I think we're still trying to do that. We're still trying to make sure that we're utilizing all of our writing abilities to the best that we can, and to feel that we're all accomplishing something together. I think more so today than ever, I know with Michael, I was a huge fan of Drop Dead 60 when I had the pleasure of playing a show with them in Skyway View. And I remember talking to my wife after we saw them play, and I was like, we could get that singer, man. We could do some great things. And man, it was like prophetic almost. It was almost prophetic,
Well,
but now,
Thanks, Ruben. And also, hey, man, I love you too. Seriously. I love all you guys. Carlos included, man. Really, really tight knit group, and it's cool that we get to work with Carlos. I'll try to keep this short. I'm going to go through how I met every member. Rick, I met you in Tijuana, and I thought, damn, this guy is awesome for doing this. Thank you. And then when I saw him drum, I'm like, dude, this guy fucking gets it. This guy's awesome. And I think we all fell in love with Rick just immediately. Brian, I remember going to a Skyway View show back before I was in the band, and I remember watching you guys, and I thought, I think you were the bassist at the time, correct? Or were you the guitarist?
When I first played with them, I was playing bass. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah,
I didn't play guitar until you were in.
I remember thinking, dude, this guy knows how to play a fucking live show. You know what I mean? Because there was different elements in the band at the time. Some people were more comfortable on stage than others, and I won't. But I remember thinking, dude, this guy is a fucking awesome bassist and entertainer, and I really respected that.
Thank you, Mike.
Zeke, I remember back in 2013, Drop Dead 60 was over. I was done with music, and Ruben and Joseph maybe asked me to to jump on stage with you guys to sing a couple songs because I had done some vocal tracks for The Good and the Beautiful, the album before I came on full time. And I remember at the time you guys were playing the Ritz, and like I was like, okay, you guys have a front man, but it's the keyboardist that's doing like the front man work at that show, because you were talking to the audience, you were like very charismatic, and you were front and center, and you were comfortable, and I just thought, man, like, again, like, what an awesome performer, and I remember when we were looking for when it was time to bring in a new bassist recently, I remember having a conversation with Ruben, and we were both like, man, let's try to get Zeke, man. Let's try to get Zeke back into this, because we're both just really thrilled about it. So thanks for joining us again, man. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
And that skeleton shirt, dude. I fucking love that skeleton shirt. As far as myself, and this explains both me and Ruben at the same time, my introduction to Skyway View was Barb booked a show at
The X Bar.
The X Bar with Drop Dead 60 and Skyway View. And I thought, oh, cool. Yeah, I'll check these guys out. And, I was looking forward to the show and everything. And I remember she had mentioned something like, oh, yeah, they're like really looking forward to playing with you guys. And I was like, oh, that's great. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing with them too. And so we play the show. The show goes great. I think it was like, what was it, the Blow Up Dolls or something that headlined?
Farewell. Yeah.
Yeah. And at the time, you guys had a female singer, and and so that night I meet Ruben and I meet the rest of the band, and like Ruben and I, we get along pretty well. But what happened that night was like the singer in that band was kind of like seducing the guitarist in our band, and it was causing these weird problems because like the two of them were like, oh, we're gonna go off and make like a side project now, bye. And you know what I mean? Like stuff like that. And like, which is fine, but it was causing some weird shit. It like, I remember the singer was trying to like make us get pissed off at our manager at the time. So I called Ruben up, or maybe I texted you, Ruben, and I was just like, hey, like what's the deal with your singer? So him and I just kind of like, we got closer because of that weird situation.
Right.
And then we just sort of stayed in contact after that for a bit, until in 2014, they were looking for a singer, and I had just moved down to LA, and they're like, hey, you want to be our singer? And I was like, well, you're in San Jose, I'm in LA. But you know what? Fuck it. And here's the thing, Ruben, if it was anybody other than you and Joseph asking me to do that, I wouldn't have done it. That's how big of a fan I was of you guys and like your sound, and especially when you showed me the stuff that you were working on, like when I first heard Made of Glass and like Crimson Petal and I basically everything you guys were working on, I was like, dude, yeah, I'll drive up to 5 as much as I can to make this work. So yeah, and it's been great ever since. So
Yeah, it's crazy to think that that's like 6 years now. You know what I mean? It's insane that we've been doing this together now, for 6 years, making those trips up and down the 5,
Yeah.
And even all the way to across the border too,
Well, that's the thing. Honestly, Carlos, thank you again for inviting us down. That acoustic show that we played, that was the first time I'd ever been into Mexico. And like, it was just magical. Like, it was just one of the coolest experiences I've ever had. So,
and I was just listening to that because the thing with the acoustic stage was that I was recording everything. So I recorded the whole set.
Even all the bands are in between, right? Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just listening to that yesterday. I was like, man, good memories.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, we'll be back down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully sooner than later.
And you guys
Right.
need to see the new studio. Well, we're in Esfera Corp right now. Right now I'm at home, the original home studio, but we're moving to Esfera Corp, and we do. Well, just before the quarantine, all this stuff, a lot of bands were going there for rehearsal, and it was really a good thing. Was going well. It's a big space. It's really centric.
Oh,
You need
cool.
to come down and check it out, definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man, I gotta go
absolutely.
play that Mesa Boogie you have in there.
Oh yeah, exactly.
That's awesome, man. I'm looking forward to that
Yeah.
once this is all, said and done.
Yeah, yeah, and also I want to take the time to thank also Jose Angel Rangel here in Tijuana from Audio Tijuana. Just recently, not just recently, but before before COVID, let's say it like that, we got in touch, and we're going to do some cool projects. I really admire his work, everything that he's done in Tijuana for Tijuana, documenting a lot of rock stuff. So we're going to be doing something right after the coronavirus. Right now, he has a podcast going on right now. If I may, I can share the links.
Yeah, plug away.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
And we're gonna have him on the show actually in a
Really?
month or so. Yeah, he'll be joining us.
Nice.
Yeah. He's shown us a lot of love, man, and he's got a really good head for the business, for kind of where music's going. He's given me a lot of advice. I've been lucky when I've been down in Tijuana when I was down for the press conference with you. He
Oh, yeah.
pulled me aside and kind of gave me some advice about where to go next in Mexico, and I super appreciate that.
Yeah, he's really awesome. He's a great person, and when I told him that I wanted to talk with him about some projects that he used to have, but that he was struggling with having time on doing them, I told him that, hey man, I want to help. I want to help out because I really admire the work he's done, and I think he's done a lot for the music here in Tijuana and all around the region. So yeah, it's pretty exciting stuff. But we're going to start mid-April, but all this stuff really doesn't allow us to do that.
Do what
Yeah.
you
But the plan's still there. We talk from time to time, just touching base. And yes. Hi, Jose Angel.
Cool. Cool. It looks like we're coming up on time right now. I don't know if there's anything else you want to plug, Carlos. I want to say personally, I think it's awesome that you made time to join us.
Yeah.
We all
thank you
really
so much.
appreciate the work you do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate the invitation, guys. And I was just the other day. I'm not a person that talks a lot, but I started texting friends, and just hanging out here with you guys is awesome. It's it's
Well, luckily for you, musicians are narcissists, so we always think about ourselves.
it's really fun to hang out with you guys, and really congratulations on doing this initiative, this project, talking to different people, really getting involved on different scenarios, different things, way of thinking, different heads. It's amazing the job that you've done, all the trajectory. I don't know how you pronunciate that, but it's really cool, and I'm really a fan of the music. I love Victoria Trap, but I really enjoy. I was just listening to Celestina, but not the CD version, but the CD that you brought me to Festiarte.
Oh,
That's
Yeah.
was like the first one. Rubens told me, "Hey, look at this," and
Yeah, I gave him a bootleg. I was like, "We just mastered it here. No one else has it."
But it's amazing. I'm like a little kid when I see anything about Branding Romantic. I love the band. I love the music. I love the sound. And when I talk to you guys, the only thing missing here is a carne asada. So it's
You're definitely, you're definitely part of the Frantic family, as as they
Yeah.
said, that our Tijuana experience was such a big part of really forming what we are now. And there's no doubt that you're at the heart of that, man. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for all that. Tell them you're about El Topo Records and where they could find you on the net and stuff.
Yeah, you can. I'm most active on Facebook, so just search for El Topo Records and on Facebook, Instagram, Google, eltoporecords.com. YouTube, it's youtube.com/El Topo Records MX. That's the only one different. And just we're doing an anniversary show, the Topo Fest. It was due on late March, so we're doing it April the 29th here in Tijuana. I mean, August 29th here in Tijuana. Hopefully, everything's clear for that date. If not, we'll move it again. But we'll be doing live sessions. That's the thing. We got a lot of good response for the video, the audio, and I think it sounded really good. It was a great session. We're planning on getting more cameras, so you know how it goes. You know me. Everything's gonna get better and better and better each.
The more you do
session.
it,
So,
yeah,
yeah, so,
totally.
We're doing that, the compilation, and waiting for all this to happen to have you back here in Tijuana, and we'll do some carne asada because it's good. The weather's gonna be great for that. Carne asada,
Great.
beers, music.
That's awesome, man. We're looking forward to that.
Man,
Count
that
us-
sounds
yeah.
good.
Count us in always.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
All right.
All right,
Thank you,
everybody.
guys.
That is the thrilling conclusion to our third episode of the Hanging with the Frans videocast. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for your questions. We're here every Thursday night at 8:30. That's Pacific time. But yes, we will have a guest on every episode. We're here just geeking out with music people we love, people we want to find more information out about. And you're more than welcome to join us always. Until next time, thank you.
Thank
Everybody.
you
guys.
guys.
It's good to meet you, Carlos.
Later.
Good night.
Nice to meet you guys.
All right, man.